Our first guest waiting is Simon from the Cardiff City World website and YouTube channel. Si, thanks so much for joining us. How comfortable or otherwise do you feel after that 5-2 loss at Plymouth Argyle, but still being 11 points clear of the rest?
Look, it was a bad day. Defensively, it was like shocking. But my kind of overall feeling is every time we've had a bit of a knockback, whether it was obviously from the Lincoln game to last Saturday, we went on unbeaten run, and we've done that every time we've had a bad result. So I'm not particularly worried about that. But as you said, as you know, I'm a massive fan of the manager, and I've been really impressed with everything he's done. Yeah, I think he got it wrong on Saturday. We had said in the preview that Plymouth are going to be physical and they're going to get it up into the foot channels quickly.
Yeah.
We need Ryan Wintle and Alex Robertson, and you need a bit of physicality, and you probably needed Will Fish in defence. And he went with Alex Robertson as a single pivot with David Turnbull, who doesn't really cover a lot of ground. And Will Fish wasn't in the squad.
I tell you what, you look so susceptible from balls.
And we just looked so open. It probably helped that the ref was a Lincoln man as well, wasn't it? But no, look, Plymouth deserved to win. At the end of the day, we were terrible, but it doesn't worry me too much. Just on the Bolton thing that you guys were just talking about, though, the other aspect of it is if Cardiff and Lincoln win 6 of their last 12 or whatever it is, Bolton almost have to win, I think it's 11 of their 12 games to be able to catch, or certainly Cardiff. I'm not 100%. Well, it probably is Lincoln as well, because there's only a couple of points between us. So it does become difficult, because I said at Christmas I thought Lincoln would fade away a little bit. And you got to be fair to them. I think they've been great. And I think they've just carried on, just chasing us. Because it's funny, you were saying about the chasing pack, kind of looking at the results and seeing us and Lincoln kind of, they've won again or whatever. But it's been a bit like that for Cardiff as well, because you get a result and you're thinking, right, hopefully Lincoln have dropped some points, and they haven't. And you're just like, for God's sake, will they just go away? But it is what it is. Like, I'm enjoying it. I like it. I think the other thing which Brian Barry Murphy's done differently in the last couple of games is our starting 11 has been a lot older. He's kind of gone to like Callum Chambers and Gabe Osho, and a few others like Wintle and not so much Wintle Saturday, but like it's been a lot older than what it was at the start of the season when we went on that sort of run without conceding from open play. So I'll be interested what the starting 11 is on Saturday against Doncaster. Because obviously,
pause on that one side. Do you think Brian Barry Murphy's obviously rotated well over the course of the season, and I think that served you well, that policy. But do you think as we move into the run-in and the tension ramps up as the sort of the finishing line becomes nearer, do you want a little bit more continuity in personnel so that you can rely on that muscle memory of those partnerships and those relationships across the field in those high pressure moments?
Yeah, I think so. I think certainly at centre back and in the centre midfield, like our best central midfield pairing is probably Alex Robertson and Ryan Wintle. And if you ask most Cardiff fans, I think they would say the best 2 centre backs out of the 4 as a partnership is Will Fish and Dylan Lawler. And that was the partnership where we just did at the start of the season, we just didn't concede a goal from open, from open play. I think it was for like 9 games at the very start. And look, I think he's done a great job of keeping all 4 of those centre-backs happy, because all 4 of those centre-backs would expect to start. So it's very difficult to keep 4 centre-backs happy when you only play 2. And I think he's done a good job of that. But I think now coming into the run-in, I would like to see probably more often than not Dylan Lawler and Will Fish, because I think they just give you the best combination. Although I wouldn't be shocked to see Osho or Chambers play against Lincoln, just for that little bit of experience. But I'd be interested in what he goes with that game, because we've been very good at home. So
it's interesting though, because I don't know if maybe you can tell me I'm wrong, but I don't think of Osho or Chambers as like big meaty dominant centre halves. Like Chambers is one of those versatile defenders who could do a job at right back or right of a 3, or could play in midfield. He's got that versatility about him. And I think Osho, I would suggest, has been schooled in a similar mould to that, in the one that you'd possibly play him alongside your big dominant centre half. So I can definitely see your point about wanting Will Fish in there, but I can also see, I don't really think you have that natural holding midfielder, and I think Ryan Wintle is that, and so for me it'd be a no-brainer to have Ryan Wintle and Will Fish in that 11.
Yeah, definitely, and I think like the one thing which Osho probably does give us, which the others maybe don't, is a little bit more recovery pace.
Right, yeah.
Like I think I said in the summer about Callum Chambers, I was quite shocked he stayed because he was very poor for us last year. However, what I've loved about him this year is at the start of the season, he wasn't in the team. He had a 19-year-old Dylan Lawler and a 22-year-old Will Fish starting in front of him for the first, I think, few games. And he didn't throw his toys out the pram. He didn't, he's the highest paid player at the club. He didn't sort of, he's the club captain as well, wasn't being selected. And he didn't sort of cause an issue. He just got his head down. And then when he came back into the side, was he's played the best football, probably up to Plymouth, the best football that he's played in a Cardiff City shirt for the whole time he's been here. So you've got to give him credit. I just think Dylan Lawler and Will Fish offer more all around, both of them.
So what about you, Colin, Jake, in terms of when you've played Cardiff City, what have you made of them as League One's leaders?
Yeah, listen, it doesn't surprise me that they're the top of the league, because like when we played them, it was it very much felt like a championship match. Like I think about that game quite often when I see kind of Cardiff's results in terms of the way in which that game kind of panned out. The only difference between us and Cardiff is that they've been far more consistent in terms of turning, draws into wins. So we've just drawn far too many games. So yeah, they've got a lot of quality at the side, haven't they? And obviously, like I said before, like as each passing week continues, like them young lads are getting more and more experience, aren't they? And that's only going to help them in the running. But obviously, when they get promoted back to the Championship.
Yeah, I've been a massive fan of Cardiff. I've spoke to Si a lot, certainly in the last couple of weeks, about obviously about the game next week, which feels like absolutely huge. But I remember we had this last chat actually, and I spoke about, well, me and Col actually spoke about how we felt that you could get at Cardiff. I feel like in the last couple of weeks, bar Saturday, that's where I feel like they've shut that down a little bit. I think a couple of teams have maybe tried to come at Cardiff, but they've just picked them off with ease. I mean, they've got the quality. I mean, they're on the run that were on before without Salek, who I think is the best striker in the league. They've played a lot recently without Ruben Colwill as well. He's obviously been injured for a long time, but Joel, his brother, stepped up massively in the last couple of weeks, couple of really big goals. And I feel like teams have seen what Bolton have done against them, have seen what we've done against them, and Bradford and teams that have beaten them, and they've just gone, right, let's just try and get at them. Let's press at them. Let's try and force mistakes, because when you do press teams, certainly in League One, they can be, the League One footballers, right? They are prone to make a mistake playing out from the back. It's not going to be perfect every single time, but I feel like Cardiff have got they've got the confidence and the ability, now that they've been under Brian Barry Murphy for a long time, to just zip it past them. I think that's what they've done in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, I think they come up against a very different obstacle to what they faced. A two-man centre forward line of Talai and Ben Pebble on Saturday. I don't think there's another centre forward partnership in the league that asks you the same sort of questions as those two do. So I can't blame Cardiff for not winning that one, because Plymouth played a completely different way to what they have been.
You almost need to go to a 3, don't you, when you face two physical strikers like that? You sort of need that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I have been really impressed. They are just so consistent alongside ourselves. They get the job done, and even against teams that come and sit in a low block, they just purr at it and they zip it side to side. They knacker teams out, and they end up scoring winning goals. So yeah, I've got a huge amount of respect for Cardiff. I think ultimately they will get promoted. They'll be one of the top two. Whether they win the league or not, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I've got massive admiration for what they're doing there.
A quick question for you, Si. Obviously, you've got to Doncaster at the weekend, and Don obviously actually not doing all right. I think they won 3 out of the last 5, and after the result against Plymouth, do you think that might affect the young lads, or do you think they'll just react and get back on the train, so to speak?
I think a lot of the younger lads were on the bench against Plymouth, or some of them certainly. And I think what is really going to help us coming into the Doncaster and Lincoln game is you've got Isaac Davis is back after his concussion, which I haven't been on the show. Probably best that I wasn't on the show after that game, actually. The Ruben Colwell's probably. I think it's not inconceivable that we could start the Lincoln game with a bench of Salic, Ruben Colwell, and
brilliant.
That's
what I mean. Like we're getting players back at the right time. And the other thing, just on the Doncaster game, because I don't want to look past Doncaster, because I'm actually a big fan of Grant McCann.
Yeah,
he was one of the few managers this year who came to our place and said, we're just going to play football, and if they beat us, they beat us, but we're going to go play football. And we started so well against them. And it
you
like
won't be getting that against Lincoln. Don't worry about that side. They won't play football. Jesus Christ!
Oh, you had success. You got to Europe with Big Samble. Don't now be
no. Listen, yeah, I get that, but yeah,
he's trying to get a rise out of me, Gav. Don't
rise to him, Jake.
I apologise for interrupting, Si.
No,
I'm just
right.
warning you that you don't be looking forward to a good football match against.
Don't worry, Si. He's upset that they've struggled to get 2 points against Little Lincoln this year. So
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Don't pay attention to this geezer.
No. I think with Doncaster, they will, even especially at home, they'll try and play football, and I think that will suit us. I think the one thing which Cardiff potentially have an issue with is physicality, depending on the side they pick, and I think that's why you've seen the likes of Osho and Chambers and some others come in away from home over that sort of post-Christmas period. But I also think what Brian Barry Murphy's done really well is he's kind of kept all the younger players fresh. And I've got a feeling that he might kind of start reintegrating them back into the starting 11, probably from Saturday, because I do think he'll make some adjustments from the weekend, because defensively we were a shambles. But yeah, we just got some players coming back. So I wouldn't say I'm confident, because being a Cardiff fan, the wheels can come off real quick for a whole variety of reasons. So I would never say that I'm confident, but I look at the fixtures and I look at Bolton's last 6, and I think if Cardiff and Lincoln just win their home games, it's going to be very difficult for anyone, or certainly for Bolton and Stockport. It's going to be difficult to catch them, if we're honest.
All I would say is when Shuey was at Plymouth, he won 11 out of his last 12 games.
Yeah.
So
I just look at your last 6, and I just think if you win all 6 of them, you've done very well, and you probably deserve to go up. Do you know what I mean? Because it's such a hard run when the pressure's on. And I think that's ultimately the thing. I think about the Lincoln and the Cardiff game a week Saturday. Ultimately, it'll probably come down to who deals with the pressure of it, because it will, regardless of what happens this weekend, that game will feel like a title decider, but it's probably not, because there's only a couple of points between us. So even if Lincoln beat us, it's still close enough that you can catch them, or vice versa. So it's one of them, and the fans probably build it up more than what it actually means in terms of the mathematics of it all.
Absolutely. Si, thanks so much for your insights, and keep up the great work on Cardiff City World.
Thank you, mate. Always a pleasure, guys. I'll see you.
Cheers, Si. See you soon.
I'll see you soon, Jake.
Yes, see you soon, mate. Can't wait.